It's no secret that a ton of companies, especially in the tech industry, are doing layoffs. And if you're only a few years out of college, this can be extremely anxiety inducing because of the amount of uncertainty. Let's talk about how you can have a backup plan in case something does happen to your job. Hey guys, it's Joy here, and today we're talking about how to prepare for layoffs. I am feeling a lot of anxiety. Like, my company did do layoffs, and a lot of the tech industry is doing layoffs and multiple rounds of layoffs. So I was really thinking about how I can best be prepared if this were to happen to me. So I wanted to share the tips that I'm thinking about going through with you all. If you're new to my channel, I make videos to help you confidently navigate your 20s. So if you're interested in more videos like that, make sure you go subscribe. And if you're a returning viewer, leave a comment down below on how you're feeling about all of the layoffs and news coming out, and if you are doing anything to prep. So the very first thing that comes to my mind when I think about layoffs is not having money. So my first tip for preparing for potential layoffs is having an emergency fund. An emergency fund is a bucket of money that is not invested that you can pull from if an emergency were to ever happen. And an emergency in this case would be not having your full-time job provide you a check every 2 weeks. So in the season of layoffs, I would recommend having 3 or more months of your expenses saved up. Obviously, if this is something you have not been working on already, it's going to take time to build up an emergency fund of that size. So don't freak out if you don't have anything saved up. I would just start saving something. And if you already have a small savings, I would see how far are you in that savings journey and how many months could you have some savings to support you if you were to lose your job. Building an emergency fund is very challenging, so I would start off by looking at your spending every month and seeing, oh, could I get Starbucks one less time? Could I do my nails at home instead of doing them at the salon? Things like that, and actually just put the money that you would have spent in a savings account instead of spending it. This doesn't have to be something you do forever. It's just to build up that emergency fund quickly. Honestly, that's how it's gonna be built up the quickest, by making some small sacrifices now so that if something were to happen, you have some extra money. So the second thing that I would start doing is looking over your resume and your LinkedIn. Most people only look at these things when they're searching for a job, but these things are actually good to keep updated, maybe like once a quarter or once every 2 quarters. But I would go back to these things and make sure it's updated with information about your current role. Make sure you have all of your current role's tasks, any big accomplishments you made, as well as the results from those things. Make sure all of this is baked into your resume and LinkedIn. My third tip is something also related to LinkedIn. You can start looking at the job market and see what companies are hiring, and also see what types of roles are out there. While you don't have to apply for anything right now if that's just too much to think about, you can at least get a sense of the landscape so you can think about what skills that you currently have that fit those jobs that are out in the market. And that brings me to number 4. If you are finding that you don't have skills that match with the jobs that are currently available in the market, that means you can start actually building some of those skills ahead of time. So for example, say you're seeing a ton of jobs say that they want someone that knows how to code, for example. This is a time where you can begin taking a class or watching YouTube videos, or just starting to build your education in that area, so that by the time anything could possibly happen, or if you decide to leave your job on your own, you are already actively building that skill, which is something you could talk about in an interview down the road. So my next tip is to revisit networking. So networking is also something that people might only think about when they're in search for a job, but networking is actually a continuous relationship that you're keeping with people. So I I would start by making a list of people in your life who have been mentors or who work in industries that you're interested in, and start just by keeping the relationship with them and catching up with them, see what they're working on. It doesn't have to be about you. You can give a quick update about yourself, but maybe schedule coffee, maybe just send a quick email and say how you're doing. I just wanted to reach out and tell you a little bit what's going on with me and hear what's going on with you. Just start to have a quarterly outreach to people to maintain relationships, so that if there is a time where you do need help from someone, it's not awkward. They're actually someone you know and not someone that you met at a networking event and then 3 years later awkwardly are reaching out because you need help. So my sixth tip is to have a side hustle. Having a side hustle is a great way to have a backup financial plan if you were to get laid off. This could be something that makes you some extra money on the side that can help you soften the fall a little bit. So for me, my side hustle is obviously being a content creator, and I also have a hair care company, but it doesn't have to be that grand. It could literally be doing Uber, Instacart. It could be offering your services on Fiverr. You can also be a creator if that's something you're interested in. You can start a business. You could get a side job as a barista. There are so many different ways to make extra money on the side. So I would encourage you to implement a side hustle if you are in an industry that is doing layoffs. So my last tip is to build a stronger relationship with your manager and make sure your manager knows what you're contributing to the company. The best way I like to do this is by having a weekly meeting with my manager where I update them on what work I'm doing and also learn their expectations for me. I also make reports where I share the performance of the work that I'm doing. So this is something that I put out monthly, and that goes to my manager and their manager and other people in the team. And then the last thing is actually sending a weekly recap to your manager via email that shares what you accomplished that week and what you plan to work on the next week. I think these three things help you stay in front of your manager, especially if they have a ton of different reports, and make sure they are aware of what you're doing and the value that it's bringing to the team. This is a super hard topic to talk about, but this is something that is affecting me and my friends right now, so I wanted to make sure that all of you are prepared in case something were to happen to your job. Let me know if this video was helpful, and make sure you subscribe to this channel for more tips to help you navigate your 20s more confidently. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye.